Turn your designs into profit with Printful. Place them on any of our products and sell them on the world's most popular online marketplaces and platforms, while we do the rest. As you sit back and enjoy running your new business, we take care of fulfillment, packing, and shipping. Easy as that. Get started with Printful today.
Hi everyone, welcome to day 3, the final day of this Printful Threads Volume 2. How exciting is this? A bit bittersweet, but still exciting. To those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, Printful Threads is Printful's very own online conference series. To those of you who joined yesterday or the day before or way back in early May, welcome back, happy to see you. My name is Marianna, I'm part of the Printful team. It has been a pleasure to have been your host for the past 2 days, and today I'm going to be, well, still your host, obviously, but we're not saying goodbye just yet because we have some pretty cool stuff lined up for you, a beautiful day ahead of us. But before we get to all that, a big thank you on behalf of the entire Printful team for sticking around for the conference, for being here with us throughout this slightly messy year. And if you want to know how we're doing, please check in with our COVID-19 page, printful.com/COVID-19. And well, the topic of this Printful Thread session for the past 3 days, well, it's still the same, isn't it? Marketing crash course for e-commerce stores. And that's because we're slowly getting ready for what lies ahead later in the year, the big holiday bash at the end of the year, which is indeed the holiday season. And well, letting you know that as in the case of day 1 and 2, we're going to have a Q&A session at the end after everybody's, done sharing their insights. And then there's going to be a teeny tiny 5-minute break before speaker number 3, because, well, I can't live without my break. And so it has been 3 days so far, 3 speakers per day and 3 themes. So as you may have heard already, day 1 was all about picking your audience and creating your first marketing strategy. Then next day 2 was about exploring the most effective marketing strategies. That was a very exciting day. I hope you guys all agree. And here we are, day 3, scaling your business and creating meaningful campaigns. And these are the beautiful speakers we have for you today, Ilze, Diane, and Jesus and Sergio. And these are the things that they're going to be discussing. A quick look at these topics and the order in which our speakers are going to appear in. Looks pretty good, right? Looks pretty good indeed. Before that, though, quick recap about the contest we have going on and how to submit questions to our speakers. As for the contest, this has been the drill so far for the past 2 days. We've been drawing 5 lucky winners every day who receive a $10 Printful coupon for using on the Printful site to order cool custom swag. So we've had 10 winners so far, 5 left. To be one of the last lucky 5, all you have to do is post a learning or takeaway on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, or a public Facebook page. Mind you, that's a public Facebook page, not a private Facebook profile. Slap on the hashtag Printful Threads, and that's it. You're entered in the contest. And you can do this until midnight tonight. That's midnight Eastern Time, ET, last chance, you guys. And we'll randomly draw the lucky 5 and get in touch with the winners privately. And let's take a quick look back at some of the cool stuff that you've been sharing us through all this time. And it's been really nice to see what you guys have put together for us. Big thank you for putting my face on yet another screen. Sir or Madam Geldliebe S 2019. That looks nice. I wasn't expecting that kind of screen inception of my face, but some other really interesting points have been made this far, and I really like what Carissa mentioned, which is, I think the point that she's making here was pretty much a focal point that all 3 speakers agreed upon last night, that, well, building a brand is all about the process. So it's not just about building a brand or having the brand, it's like being the brand, doing the brand. So yeah, nice job there on that quote. Nice job on that takeaway. And of course, during this whole conference, feel free to ask questions to the Printful Thread speakers in the comment section of wherever it is that you're watching us. And our team will gather the questions. And of course, we'll discuss them in the Q&A round that will follow all the speakers' presentations. And please mention the speaker who the question is for, so we know who to ask the question, obviously. And if you're watching us on the Printful Threads landing page on our Printful website, you can leave a comment by switching over to YouTube and typing in the comment there. Okay, ready? Ready. I must say, I am particularly ready and particularly excited about our first speaker today. And who can blame me? It's a familiar face. It's my teammate Ilze from the marketing team. Hi, Ilze.
Hey.
You're
Great
famous.
to be here. Thank you for being such a gracious host for these past 3 days. It's been so exciting to watch all the presentations.
Thank you. A fun day at work. Well, 3 days.
Yeah. So yeah, my name is Ilze. I'm part of Printful's marketing team. I've been with Printful for 3 years now. And when I started out, the whole concept of print-on-demand dropshipping was quite foreign to me, but I really quickly fell in love with it because, it's not just about a string of technical terms. It's actually about making e-commerce store owners' dreams come true. And one part how we do make those dreams come true is actually just by providing lots of actionable tips that you can use on your e-commerce store. And that's what I will try to do today. So let's just dive right in and talk about the 5 steps to planning your best marketing campaign yet. These 3 days have been super, super useful for everyone, I hope. I've written down a lot of notes myself. And I just wanted to take us a little step back to think about why we've been talking about marketing for these 3 days so much. I think some e-commerce store owners, when they're starting out, they think that they'll build this great product and the customers will just flock to it. In an ideal world, that would probably be true, but unfortunately, we do not live in an ideal world, especially this year. And quite often, a great product, a great store, a great brand can get lost in all the digital noise out there. So building a great product is just a fundamental first step that you have to take. There are very many steps to do afterwards. One is to maintain your store because you have to provide a smooth, seamless customer experience. Another one is to improve the store according to the customer feedback that comes in. And then the one that we've been focusing on for these 3 days is, of course, marketing everything. And only then the customers will come to your store and return regularly. So yeah, and today I want to speak about the marketing part especially, and just tell you about the 5 steps I think you need to take to create a really good marketing campaign and to make your efforts really worthwhile. So yeah, step 1, finding your focus and keeping your audience in mind at all times. I think the word niche has been mentioned so many times during these 3 days that we probably should have done some sort of counter in the corner. I think it would be in triple digits by now. But honestly, it's been mentioned so many times because it's extremely important. Finding your niche sometimes seems like a counterintuitive thing to do for new e-commerce store owners, because when you try selling to everyone, it's a very large number of people. But when you do a niche marketing, it's sort of a smaller group. So why would you want to sell to a smaller group? But just think of your niche as being defined by the people who use it. So just from your own life experience, you probably know that it's much easier to build long-lasting, worthwhile relationships with a smaller group of people than just with everyone. And this is also something that Mark mentioned on day 1 and that was mentioned also on day 2. So figure out what your niche is. It can be quite difficult. It's not something that people usually just realize immediately when they start building their own brand. But look at your personal experience, at your story, where you're coming from, your passions, your interests. Do some research on the internet. Something might pop into your mind by just reading a list of different niches. And try to solve a problem either for yourself or for your customers. I think one of the most inspiring and interesting stories that we shared on our Printful blog was by this family. Unfortunately, their son had a medical problem, so they spent a lot of time in the hospital. And it's quite a depressing situation, of course, and they tried to lift their own spirits by designing these really cool cartoon t-shirts with funny quotes. And just by trying to lift themselves up, they got other people interested. So other people in the hospital started to wear the shirts, the nurses, other patients. So that's how they started their own brand. And perhaps there's something in your life story that will also at some point trigger this kind of idea. Oh, yes, this is something that I love. This is something that I can share with other people. And definitely check out day 1 presentations and day 2 presentations where we talked a lot about niches. They will definitely come handy for you when you try to pick your niche. And once you have that niche defined, it's time to figure out which dates you want to target. Here on the slides, I've put in some of the Q4 dates for 2020 that you want to take a look at. They're definitely not all the dates, they're more. Just check out any internet calendar. Of course, Black Friday, Cyber Monday are e-commerce store owners must-haves. It's a day when there are so many eyes on e-commerce store owners, so you have to prepare for those. But depending on your niche, you might also want to focus on some other dates as well. For example, if you have a witchcraft-related store, then Halloween might be the holiday for you. Or if you're very proud of your small business roots, then you can figure out something exciting and unusual for the Small Business Saturday. So just keeping in mind your niche, think about the dates that will work for you. And also remember that you don't have to target every date, because especially if you're just starting out, it means that it might be that it's just you doing everything, the designing, the tech setup, the marketing. So pick some of the dates, don't spread yourself too thin. And it's actually I'll repeat myself with the don't spread yourself too thin theme throughout the whole presentation, because it's very important, especially in the planning stage, which is step 2 of preparing a good marketing campaign. So you have to decide on the deals that you're going to offer. It could be discounts. A lot of customers expect discounts. Either it's coupons, or it's a percentage off, or it might be free shipping, or you can do, for example, free shipping for orders that are over $100. But it's not necessarily just about discounts. You could also do loyalty rewards. In yesterday's presentation, Steve talked about loyalty rewards and how great they are to keep customers. So you might want to figure out something in that area. Or another option to go to is just to create product collections that are exciting, short-term, sort of buy now or it's never returning to my store. Just as an idea, for example, there's this ugly Christmas sweater day on, I think it's December 20th. And perhaps you want to create this unique ugly Christmas sweater collection that's just will be in your store for just a week. So just creating this excitement about something, keeping engaged with your customers, keeping them interested in what you're doing all the time. I think that's very important when figuring out what deals you can make. And once you have those deals figured out, you can pick the channels where you're going to promote them. So if you have an email subscribers list, definitely do email marketing. It's still one of the most efficient ways to do promos. If you don't have an email subscribers list, then definitely think about starting to build one, especially during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, when there are so many people just might go to your store and subscribe. Or if your target audience is on Facebook and Instagram, consider running ads there. Or for example, if your target audience is sort of the younger generation who spend more time on social media, perhaps you want to try out TikTok marketing. So again, keeping in mind the audience that you have chosen as your niche, figure out which channels make sense for you. And again, I want to repeat myself that don't spread yourself too thin. You don't have to do everything. If you have the time and if you're preparing in advance, you can definitely experiment with different channels. But if you're doing everything yourself, then pick the one that works best and focus on that one. It will give you much better results than if you try them all. And later on, when your brand is getting bigger and you have some help coming in, perhaps you're partnering with some people, then you can think about expanding the list of channels that you're using for your promos. And once your deals and your channels are sort of ironed out, that's when you have to create your plan. I think it's super important to keep track of everything. Either it's a checklist or it's a content calendar where you have put in all the channels that you're using and the dates when you'll be posting stuff there. Or perhaps it's a reminder system, a Google alert, something that makes sense for you and that works for you. Because if you'll try to remember everything and just sort of rely on your memory, it takes up a lot of space. So when you write stuff down, when you create a system for yourself, it actually frees your brain a bit for the more creative stuff, for new designs, for great marketing copy, for very cool visuals. So write stuff down. That has never failed me, and I'm very sure it's never going to fail you as well. And also don't forget to create buzz, because it's clear you're going to be excited about the campaigns that you're doing, but you have to make sure that your customers are also excited. Do sneak peeks of new products that you'll be launching, show behind the scenes. We have this really great production footage page on Printful where you can download videos of how our products are made and use them for your marketing efforts. So you can show those on your Instagram stories or on your product pages. And use fear of missing out when speaking of your customers. Do countdowns, do all kinds of sneak peeks and behind the scenes so they get as excited about the campaign as you are, of course. And then the next step is actually prepping the content and making every word and picture matter. So what I mean by your content, it's not just the copy, but it's also the visuals. And always remember that there will be different places. You have to adjust the message, adjust the visuals to each of the place. One thing is about ads and promos. People are usually quite aware that they have to prepare for those, but also think about the changes that you can make on your store to make it more relevant for that particular holiday that you're preparing for. So make sure there are some holiday themed banners there, or if the product descriptions might be a bit updated with like a holiday twist. So just pay attention to every point of contact that you have with your customers and prepare the content and copy and visuals in advance. And yes, in advance, I know it's very easy to do the student thing and procrastinate to the last minute, but especially, again, if you're doing it on your own, then it's important to do everything in advance. It will give you a bit of free time, a bit of sort of place to do some other stuff as well. So, for example, when you write copy, you can review it like 3 days later with a fresh view and see if it still makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't really, and that will give you some time to prepare. And then while in the process of preparing all the content, you have to audit your store regularly to make your efforts worthwhile. If you don't do this step, then all the previous steps will not really matter because people will not have a good user experience when they're on your store. One thing is the promo stuff. You have to make sure that when a customer lands on your store, they actually see what they came there for. For example, if a customer is browsing their Facebook feed, they see your ad, they click on it. What's the page where they will land? Will they immediately see what they have to do next? Is there a banner there? Is there some sort of visible information that will help lead them further on their customer journey? And of course, the other thing is the tech stuff, basically, especially the checkout process. There are a lot of customers who sort of do not get to the end of the checkout process. So make sure that you see the process through yourself. Ask your family, ask your friends to make a test order, and perhaps it's like 20 clicks too long, or there are places that you have to insert information twice. So make it as seamless as possible so there's no friction and customers can smoothly go through and order the t-shirt or the mug that they wanted. Also, there's loads of really great pop-ups out there for all kinds of additional stuff that you can do, such as additional card emails, exit pop-ups, of course, retargeting pixels that you can put on your store and later do retargeting ads. So just keep a touch on the tech side and remember to check it regularly, because you don't want to wake up on Black Friday and realize that there's something off with your retargeting pixel. So just be prepared with the tech as well. And then the next step, which sort of already comes after you've done everything else, after the campaign, is striving for loyalty and turning first-time visitors into loyal customers. I know that sometimes it's easy. You do the campaign, it's done, you see the results, you forget about it and move to the next campaign. But that's not how it should be, because it's much, much easier to get a customer who has already bought for you to buy again than it is to acquire a new customer. So think how to keep them engaged, and you have to start thinking about this before the campaign is over, so you're already ready once the campaign is over and you can start building these long-lasting relationships. So for new customers, I always suggest doing welcome messages, either in emails or it can be a pop-up banner somewhere in your store. Make sure that your brand story is visible. Yesterday's Printful Threads presentations talked a lot about the brand, so maybe that will help you sort of write down your story and show who you are. But people like to see the person behind the brand. It's not just a big company, it's someone there doing all that stuff. So share that story, share it on your page, share it via emails, share wherever you can reach your customers. And of course, do retargeting. Just remind the customers about your existence once in a while so they do not forget about the brand that they bought from. And for repeat customers who are already returning to your store once in a while, just say thank you. Sometimes it's such a nice thing to just receive an email that says, hey, you've been with us for 3 months. Thank you so much for choosing our brand, for being with us. And that's it. Just a quick thank you, not asking anything from the customers, just basically thanking them for being there for you. And you can also, as I said, think about the loyalty rewards that you might do. And yeah, those are the 5 steps that you have to stick to, in my opinion. And just to recap, find your focus with your niche and the dates you want to target, plan ahead and prep the content ahead so it's not a stressful holiday season for you. It's not a stressful Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Always audit your store, both for the promo stuff that you put there and for the tech side. So it's a very smooth, frictionless experience. And always, whenever you do a marketing campaign, do think about what you're going to do after. Strive for loyalty with your customers. And while you'll be doing all of this amazing stuff with these great campaigns, we at Printful are also doing our peak prep. We're getting ready. Our fulfillment times are back to normal in almost all categories. We're hiring more people, investing in more printers and other tech. So by the time holiday season rolls around, we'll be ready for the incoming order volume. And of course, we're preparing useful tips and tricks that you can use in your holiday marketing. And actually, if you go to printful.com/guides/holiday marketing, there's loads of blog articles, video posts that you can read and go into more detail about what you need to do to create a really great marketing campaign. So yeah, thank you for having me. It's been really great. I hope you'll find this useful.
Thank you, Ilze. Woohoo! Congrats on your first ever Printful Threads talk. It was great.
Thank you.
Awesome.
It was exciting.
Don't go anywhere. Stick around. If you have any questions for Ilze, please leave them in the comments section of where you're watching us. And if you want to leave a comment just along the lines of what is going on, Printful Threads is going on. You're watching Printful's very own online conference for e-commerce store owners. And while Speaker 2 is getting ready, hope you all know about the contest. Hope you've heard me say this by now, that you still have tonight to share an insight or takeaway from the conference so far on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, or public Facebook page with the hashtag Printful Threads. And once you enter that contest, you just may be one of the 5 last lucky winners who win a $10 coupon you can use on the Printful site to order cool custom swag until midnight tonight, Eastern time. There it is, you guys. So we just had the pleasure of having another Printfuler here with us. And now we have the pleasure of welcoming our second speaker, Diana, the Facebook lead for HTT Pool Latvia. Hi, Diana. Welcome.
Hi, hello guys. Thank you for having me. It's my first ever Printful Threads as well. So super excited. Thank you.
Excited to have you here. Take it away.
So just to say a couple of words about myself. Who am I? What am I doing here? What am I doing here? So I've been actually working with digital platforms for a while now, more than 10 years. And it's been a ride. And I've been working in agencies and in-house teams. And now it's super exciting for me to be from the platform side, to actually see how it all the pieces of puzzle come together. And I'm happy to share some of the tips and tricks for Facebook ads on e-commerce today with you. So, but first, let me just say a couple of words also about the company, HTT Pool. So we have, as you can see, a lot of markets covered here in terms of employees and offices. So this all gives us really great knowledge sharing and experience sharing. And what we actually do is we are exclusive representatives of some of the major platforms like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Spotify, and many more. But today we're going to talk about Facebook mainly, where we are official exclusive representatives in such regions as Balkans, Baltics, and recently also APAC countries. So what exactly matters for e-commerce when we talk about Facebook ads? You all know, I'm sure, full funnel solutions, full funnel approach as such, so that we have different stages of the customer journey, which takes different steps from the company, from the advertiser, mainly awareness, then consideration, and conversion. So for each of that stage, Facebook has the solution. And of course, the first thing you do, you map the journey of the consumer according to your path in your website, and also lead him through this path, through the ads, through the campaigns. And this means also that you should match your campaign objectives with the ad formats, meaning that Facebook has different objectives for the campaigns and also different solutions for that, meaning that ads formats play a significant role in the outcome of the campaign. For example, for reach, you would most probably use video link ads. For traffic, probably a good idea is to try collection ads or carousel. Then for conversion or purchase, you would use mainly dynamic product ads from the catalog. And another really important thing is that Facebook measures people-based data. So when we talk about such proxy metrics like cookies, this is something that you don't really measure the results on. So when we talk about true value, people-based data account for all the touch points in the path. So instead of measuring clicks, for example, you would measure brand lift or conversion lift, or instead of focusing on CPMs, you would focus on true return of investment or return of ad spend. And another really important thing is to focus on creative. It can make or break your campaign. And what exactly can make or break your campaign in terms of creatives? Ad format, as I mentioned, but don't ever try to compare which format works best in terms of comparing, for example, static image with video, for example. If you try to test it, then better mix and match the assets. I will speak about that in a minute. But the idea is that you try all the possible formats, static, carousels, videos, you name it, and see what works best for you. Also important is framing for different placements. So for each placement, there is a special format and framing that works best. Adopting your messaging also is important for every placement and for every stage of the funnel. And yes, test and learn. Test as much as you can and see what works for your specific brand best. Just to show as an example that aspect ratio matters a lot, where vertical format outperforms usually the square format. And if we compare vertical with the horizontal format, again, vertical full screen usually outperforms it. And Ilze before talked about engagement and a lot of interesting stuff. So customizing creatives for placements is something that doesn't take much time and doesn't take much resource. So usually when we speak about, for example, videos, usually the first thing that comes to your mind is, oh my God, this must be expensive and time-consuming and whatnot. But actually, you can customize your creatives in the app in Facebook, so you don't have to spend much time or effort or resource on this. And when we talk about videos, one thing that I want to emphasize is thinking mobile first. Why? Because most of the purchases happen on mobile. So when the potential client sees your ad, it's going to be probably on the mobile. And you want to make sure that you are ready for them, because we are super fast on mobiles and we scroll really fast. And it takes only a couple of seconds for a person to make that decision, buy or not to buy, scroll forward or stop. So make sure that in your video you usually grab attention in first 3 seconds. So make sure that your brand is included or your product is included in the first 3 seconds. Size of the video also matters. I mentioned previously the vertical full screen. Also, portrait is a good format to use for mobiles. And as I mentioned also, mixed assets idea is a good concept for better performance on every level. So when we spoke about the full funnel approach, for every stage, mixed assets work better, meaning that if you use only static images or only videos, probably it's going to be better if you use both of these formats together. And also a good idea is to play and have fun with your creatives and have fun with new solutions and be the first to try something new while others haven't done that yet. For example, if we speak about polling stickers on Instagram, and this is a fun way for your brand to get to know and research what your consumers like most, which product or which color, or also just to boost the engagement. And here you should make note of the thumb zones. Yes, that is a thing. So you want to make sure that you stay somewhere in the line of the yellow area, which is easy and accurate, marked here. And this means that if you put the sticker, for example, in this yellow area, this means that your user, your potential customer, will more likely to click on your sticker. Another important thing is automation. What that means, automatic placements is a debatable thing. Usually, brands struggle whether to use manual approach or automatic placements. I can tell you, we have seen so many cases where actually people have challenge. Like one advertiser uses, for example, only manual placements and the other automatic placements. And actually, usually automatic placements win, and it saves tons of time and effort, if you ask me. So let the algorithm do its job. Why? Because we can assume that we know our audience, we know where they are, but algorithm actually is faster and it sees better. So the system will choose the right placement in the right moment for the right price. So the overall average cost and the outcomes combined will be more beneficial for the advertiser when using automatic placements. Another automation types, so to say, are dynamic creatives, where also the system will choose the right image or creative to show to the right audience in the right moment. Also, dynamic language optimization, where the system will automatically translate for the right audience in the right language. And of course, dynamic catalog sales, where the right product will be shown for the right person in the right moment. This is very beneficial if we talk about retargeting and remarketing. Learning phase is something to pay attention, because as we know that the system needs at least 50 optimization events per ad set in the first 7 days. This is at least. So the less ad sets you make, the faster actually the system will learn. So the more ad sets you make, the more it takes for the system to learn. And in each ad set, you would need those 50, at least 50 optimization events. That's why to save time and effort, again, the suggestion is to keep it simple, to keep it clean as to the structure, to use less ad sets and optimize them faster. As to the campaign duration, it depends on different criteria. For example, how long is your purchase cycle? Or is the message complex that you're trying to deliver to your audience? So the more the message is more complex, the more time it will take. So when you're deciding on the period of your campaign, take into consideration these points. Also, as to the frequency, just to mention some of those. For example, if you're entering new market, new country, this will probably take more time, and with a higher frequency, you would need to show your ads. Also, if your message again is complex, then it would take again more time and higher frequency. And now to the tasty stuff, to the high season. For branding, usually it takes at least 10 weeks. For duration of the campaign, and higher frequency. So if usually it would take the frequency of 2 per week to show the message, then during the high season, holiday season, it would be 3, for example. Again, to stand out, you would need to mind creatives, to do something creative and mind-blowing to be able to stand out on all the feed. Yeah, and also something to bear in mind is reach and frequency buying type, which I will explain in a minute. So when we talk about traditional approach, usually what happens, we have 3 key stages, which is pre, peak, and panic. So how to tackle that to maximize the growth? So go bigger and earlier, meaning that you start warming up your audience a bit earlier, not right just the couple of days before Black Friday, for example. Then you can use reach and frequency buying option, which means that you can book a certain audience for a fixed price 3 months in advance. This allows you to guarantee a fixed price for the season when the prices for CPMs go up, usually because of all the advertisers advertising at the same time. Also, make sure to automate as much as possible during the peak, because it's going to make your life easier. And broaden your targeting, meaning that we usually think, again, that we know our audience, but during the peak time, the audience acts differently a little bit, maybe because they buy gifts for somebody else, so they don't buy the stuff they usually buy, or they just are in panic again. So that's why they kind of their behavior changes during that time. And just a couple of words about the COVID and brand communication, real quickly. So this is important during these trying and unpredictable times to be proactive as a brand. So if you are experiencing some of the delivery delays or something, just make sure that you communicate it in every step of your checkout, in your website, in your ads, everywhere, because it might affect your ad delivery and your page score quality on Facebook. Also maintain open lines for communication with your customers, of course. And yeah, and it's important because it will affect loyalty. As Ilze mentioned previously, also one of the important things among the engagement and retargeting. So loyalty is something that can be affected in a long term, the way brands communicate during these times. And try to find the right balance because some of the brands are overdoing it, and make sure that you don't use COVID-19 in every post in organic, but at the same time, do not ignore the issue. Try to find the right balance. Yeah, and just a couple of takeaways to sum up. As to full funnel approach, try to use it. As to creatives, try to think mobile first and play with formats. Find your way. Use automation, especially during high season. Reach and frequency buying is a good idea during the high season. And yes, play and test. See what happens.
Thank you. That was super detailed, super insightful. I know that our speakers were taking notes because they were actually literally saying that they were taking notes. So thank you very much for that. It was amazing. Stick around for Q&A. See you in a bit. Okay, so what do we have next? Sorry, guys. Well, we have one speaker left, but no, wait, it's actually two. Coming up later on, it's Jesus and Sergio, co-founders of Gay Pride Apparel. They are the last speakers of the day and the last speakers of this edition of Printful Threads. How exciting, right? But before getting into that, we are going to take a quick 5-minute break, which is just enough time for a last go at our contest. So go on Twitter, LinkedIn. What else do we have here? A public Facebook page. Did I say LinkedIn already? Instagram, right? Post a learning or takeaway. Slap on the hashtag Printful Threads, and you may be one of the last 5 winners to win a $10 Printful coupon to use on the Printful site for ordering cool custom merch. You have until midnight tonight. Do not miss it. So far, that's what you need to know so far. Okay, so get some water, or maybe do the exact opposite. I don't know, up to you. See you soon. Welcome back, dear Printful Threads crowd. If you're just tuning in, you're watching day 3 of Printful Threads, Printful's very own online conference. And the theme of this volume 2 is Marketing Crash Course for E-commerce Stores. My name is Marianna. You may or may not have had enough of my face for the last 3 days, but well, that's life, nothing to do about there. Today's action was brought to you by Ilze and Dion in the first half, of this day 3 of volume 2 Printful Threads. And we have still some exciting stuff ahead, brought to you by Jesus and Sergio. But before we get to those two, quick reminder, you still have the chance to win a $10 Printful coupon to use on the Printful site to order cool custom swag for yourself, for your friend, for a family member, whoever. So to participate, all you have to do is post a learning or takeaway from the conference so far on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, or a public Facebook page. Now that's a public Facebook page and not a Facebook profile. Slap on the hashtag Printful Threads, and there you go. You're in. You have until midnight tonight. We'll randomly draw the lucky 5 and announce. We'll get in touch with the winners privately. You know what I mean? And we still have some really, really cool things coming in. And I think there's going to be a slide up here right now, and there it is. So Christelle has chimed in, and someone whose name I dare not pronounce. But what I really do enjoy is the takeaway with the cute drawing with what looks like a cow and some clocks about how everything takes time. So enjoy the process, and I think that's beautiful. Applies not just to e-commerce, right, guys? So thank you so much for all those awesome takeaways, and keep them rolling in. Okay, I think our final speakers are finally ready to come on up here. If you have a question for them, make sure to leave it in the comment section of wherever it is that you're watching us. Jesus and Sergio, welcome to the conference.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
So happy to be here.
I am Sergio.
I'm Jesus. We're co-founders of Gay Pride Apparel, and we're so excited to be here. And thank you so much, Printful, for this.
And today we're going to be talking about how to authentically build a community using Instagram and social movements.
So here's a quick agenda. We'll talk to you about who we are, where we come from, how we got here. Talk to you about being authentic on social media and kind of just in general with your brand. About leading movements, creating shareable content, and one thing that's very important to us is giving back. And then we have some juicy numbers for you guys to look at and see that it is possible to be successful and to do great stuff.
Yeah. So a little bit of who we are. I am Sergio, and this is my partner Jesus, and we've been best friends since middle school. I recently quit my job at Cole Haan as product merchandising.
And I recently left Tiffany & Co. And I was doing Tiffany.com, so e-commerce stuff.
So we decided to take a leap of faith. We were like, this is our side business. How is it going to become a full business? So we were like, during this whole pandemic, we were like, let's think about ways on how to actually jump ship. We just did it. You just have to go for it. And how to be authentic within yourself starts with yourself and just doing it. So a little bit of background about us. We started Gay Pride Apparel in 2019, and Printful has been there since day one. They have been the best partners with us by far, literally the best.
Yep. And now, like I said, we're focusing 100% on building this brand, and we've learned a lot. And as Marianna said earlier, it takes time. And we've been here for about 1.5 years now, and we're going to tell you more about how we've done this and where we are today and where we think we're going in the future. So our first slide is a real life example of us being authentic and how to really, when we are an LGBTQ owned apparel company. So a lot of our marketing is obviously LGBTQ focused. When June 1st rolls around, which is Pride Month, we had a whole marketing campaign about Pride, about being, proud and the Pride Month. But if you don't remember, and if you're not from the US, during this time, there was a lot of social unrest, a lot of social justice things going on. And we didn't feel right as people of color and also as people who are serving a community, with the LGBT community, to kind of go on full Pride. So on your screen, you'll see kind of our June 1st announcement, which we changed our Pride marketing campaign to be one community, one Pride, to show solidarity with everyone in the community and to also kind of reach out to the communities who are currently hurting and bring them into our brand and make sure that we're, being inclusive and we're aware of our current events. So you can see we did a short little caption, and as a small business owner, I understand, and we both understand, that we always are looking for ROI, but these are the kind of things that we believe build a brand that can last longer than, a year and a long time. And
build that trust within that connection. Like everyone else has said, you have to have that trust with your consumers for them to believe in you, for you to have that community within each other. So I feel like being authentic and having that passion of striving for good in the community is very important.
And just some quick stats over here on the side, like this post itself reached 10,839 people. It had 256 actions, 59 website clicks. And while not everything is about ROI at this point, it's mostly about brand awareness. Like these numbers are pretty impressive for an organic social post. But the overall message is believe in something and make it clear. And I think it will show your authenticity.
Exactly.
Another thing that we kind of took to heart is making sure that we're not just joining a movement just to join it. Obviously, all these issues going on were affecting everyone, dear and heart to us, ourselves even. And we at this point had a community of about 25,000 people, and we didn't want to just sit back and, not acknowledge it at least, or even do something to help. So the way that we started helping is by creating content that was easily shared and that has a message behind it. So for the first slide here, the first square, this was just a solidarity post that we made, and it became something even more beautiful from just organic social, where people were actually using these graphics as their profile pictures on Instagram. I still see them on Facebook occasionally, and it became this really beautiful moment of us just believing it and trying to lead a movement, and the results were just amazing.
From just that one post, people were taking that and making them as their profile picture, and that just alone is not the return investment, but you're building that awareness within that community, and you're surrounding yourself with the people that you want to be moving with.
And in short terms, it's social proof. It's really helping you be in the community. And the second post that we have here is another example of what we did. Like I said, we didn't want to just sit back, so we were brainstorming. We had just scratched our entire marketing campaign for Pride, so we're just cranking out content. We're trying to brainstorm what to do. So our second post is a 9-post carousel, so a slideshow on Instagram. And each slide said different ways to help that didn't require money, didn't require you to do anything. So it was the first slide was go out and protest, but here's how to do it safely during COVID.
If you can go out and protest, do it from home. And these are the single ways that you can donate back to the community, donate to the organizations that really do need the help.
Yep. And another part of this thing that we did during this campaign is a lot of our profits from these campaigns were going back to organizations, which kind of brings us to one of our points later. But what we were saying earlier, creating shareable content is really important.
And not just that, creating shareable content doesn't mean that they have to buy something. Creating shareable content means that you just have it and it's easily accessible. Just from that Instagram post with the fist, for the resistant fist, you can go and download that, and they would use that as their profile screen. So we were let's make wallpapers. We jumped on the thing, we made wallpapers, but they had the option to donate to the organization that you wanted. So you didn't have to go out buy out a hoodie or a sweatshirt or a mug. You were just being able to buy a wallpaper and still get back to that community, and sharing that creative content was so simple and easy to those customers.
Yeah, and it kind of created, again, this sense of, we're not just, and we're going to keep going back to this because authenticity is where it starts. Yeah. It created this thing of we're not just going to put out this content, we're going to do something about it.
Exactly.
We're going to make sure that we give you the resources, one, to, be able to do something yourself, and we'll also provide you with something where you can do direct donation for this stuff. And then here's the fun part. So just so you can get an idea of where we've been, how we started, and where we're going. When we started last year, so 2019, the total year sales were $14,000. And that's just us working on it, bare minimum, side job.
We were at a full-time, literally working from 9 to 10, and from 9 to 5, and then we would leave work from 5 to 10 p.m. working on this. And last year, we didn't focus on content. We didn't do any of this campaign. We didn't do any of this listening. We didn't really, we were kind of in the mentality of how do we put out a shirt that sells? And as much as that's great for your beginning and you're starting out and you're trying to learn the ropes, I think this year, and our sales show it, we learned that you have to really, take your time, listen, be authentic, and kind of pivot, create content, and learn from your audience. Mm-hmm. And this right here,
shows that what can happen when you really commit to something and you are creating content that's meaningful and shareable. Another thing that's happened for us since we've launched last year and kind of just happened this year has resulted in we've received over 100,000 site visits on average per month, which, mind blowing. And again, this goes back to the part of the content where it's, you don't see an ROI necessarily as far as like conversions go when you're creating this good content for the world, but you'll see it in other ways. And we strongly believe that the reason that we have reached as many visits per month for the past couple months is because of this content that we put out. And this content that we put out, along with our partnerships with Surgical
has allowed us to create these amazing partnerships. And we're here being one of them. It's a show brought to you by HBO, and it's about 3 drag queens going through America and going through small towns where people don't really have the access to drag queens or the visibility of what being queer is. So just both missions on that aligning was great for us. So just combining the mission statement of ourselves with the other brand and creating this great partnership resulted in these like increase of sales and increase of like site visits, because it was creating that bond between 2 things that weren't connected into one.
Yeah, and it was, what we did for them, just for context, is we did an exclusive partnership with them where we were doing their merch for their show. Mm-hmm. And we had a Pride campaign, which we also kind of had to pivot because of the things going on at the time. But we focus a lot of our efforts, majority of our efforts in giving back to the community, and the community being the LGBTQ community. But, find the community that resonates with your niche, find the community that resonates with your brand, find something that you believe in, and then do social good, and it really, really, really will show. Like I said, we do partnerships where we do like donation-based partnerships, but then we also do, and it's like a shameless plug, I love them to death and they're not paying me for this, but Change Commerce and the Shopify App Store allows you to install a plugin into your product pages that allows people to click a direct donation from the product to any charity that you choose on your back end. So you can ask us questions about it later, but this is one thing that we do year round in addition to our giving back partnerships.
And this just ties it up to like be authentic with your consumers. You're not just gonna go buy a sweatshirt and a hoodie like we said before, but like you have to know that we're not taking the money. The money is going back to those organizations for the people in need. We started this not as like a Pride merch store. We started this because we saw a need, like a niche, like everyone was saying, that queer people, like everyone, like needed help and needed like assistance and just like a guide in life. And we were so lucky of being in a bubble of New York City and having that surrounding, but you also have to think about the authenticity of it all, not just being in that one bubble. You have to put yourself back and realize it's everyone. And just giving that aspect of the donation base really helps us be authentic with our consumers. And they know that when they receive a shirt with the rainbow on, they're helping a 12-year-old in Kansas that was just kicked out from their family's home. And $3 of that shirt is going to the Ali Foring Foundation, which is helping those kids in need. So It's not just about selling a t-shirt and being authentic. It's about having a community and a backstory to that as well.
And that's something that we've done really well in the past year, I believe, like starting from 0 followers to 10,000 followers in June last year. And I believe our audience really resonates with the fact that, first of all, we're 2 people of color, LGBT people, and then 2, that we are really community focused. Mm-hmm. And if you want to, in our opinion, if you want to drive your brand to be something great, you need to really listen and be authentic and learn from your consumer. Because otherwise you're talking to a one-way street and it's never fun.
And learn how to pivot. Learn how to pivot from, hey, this is happening right now. What can I do? Like they were saying before, you don't have to do everything, but just know how to do some things right and fast, acting quick.
And that's pretty much for it. We're pretty short on time. Sorry. But the takeaways are be authentic, lead the movement, create great shareable content, and make sure you give back and kind of just create this community of people that are, standing behind you and supporting your every move.
Exactly.
Thank you, guys. That was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing our story.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Oh my God, that was the last speaker of the day, you guys.
So sad.
So sad. But let's get all those smiling faces back on the screen because it's time for the Q&A. Welcome. Are you ready? Let's see. let's take a look. All the viewers have been sending in some really good stuff. A really, really good one for Jesus and Sergio is,
Give it to us.
well, here's one. I don't know if you guys checked in with day one or day two, but one of the topics we discussed was knowing your aha or yeehaw moment.
Yeah.
How do you define your aha moment? When did you realize, okay, wow, this is happening, this is it?
It was actually, I mean, we had two moments. The first was when we started the brand and we were like, oh my God, like this is something so cute we're doing and it's a cute creative project and we're like having fun. And then the second aha moment came, I think in June, when we hit our highest like sales day, which was like, I think $8,000 in one day. And like, that was when we were like, oh wow, we really do have something.
And just going off of that, we were still working our full-time jobs.
Yeah.
So we were like, what are we doing here? Like, we're doing all this on a side business mentality. What can we do when we actually put our full time and effort to this? And that's when our aha moment happened. We're like, we need to just jump ship. We need to leave this and just focus on building this brand and community. And that was, I feel like.
And actually the third aha moment when a celebrity posted our sweatshirt that I'm wearing today, Lily Reinhart, and we were like, whoa.
We're like, we're doing something right, I guess.
Oh, that's amazing. Three aha moments.
Three aha moments.
Whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Awesome. The next question is for Ilze. Let's talk about how to get to that aha moment. Going back to holiday marketing a little bit, what do you recommend as the absolute essentials for holiday marketing? Because you mentioned not spreading yourself too thin.
Yes.
What do you recommend?
I think I don't think it's a matter of just doing one particular thing, but just do something. Anything is better than just sitting there and waiting for customers to come to you. Mm-hmm. Either do an Instagram story collection or do a Facebook ad, but do a little bit of something. And when those eyes get to your store, you will get the results. So yeah, just one step at a time. Do a little bit of everything if you want, if you have the time. If not, just pick one thing and go with it. If you need one particular place to start, I would probably suggest social media. That's where it's at probably at the moment. Yes, exactly. Just like Jesus and Sergio also told about it. So just do social media if you need that first push somewhere.
Okay, funny you mention social media because we have a Facebook ads expert here. The next one's for Deanna. This one is a pretty straightforward question, but it's a good one. What is the best content to make into an ad? What do you think?
I think where Jesus and Sergio talked about being authentic and being you. This is always a win kind of a thing, also in ads. So, but be short and be bold, because you have only the minimum of the characters. Like 90 characters is the thing to do for the ads. And with the creatives, it's usually about the contrast, the right message, but always about the visual. So if I would pick just a couple of things, it would be to focus on the creative and on the short message with the right call to action.
Mm-hmm.
If I can piggyback on that a little bit, we talked about it yesterday during Printful Threads, but user-generated content, that's so important. And you can also use that for ads because that's social proof. That's showing that people are using your stuff in real life.
I see you guys nodding. What's your experience with all that?
So if you go to our homepage, shameless plug, our hero banner is actually all UGC. And it's people wearing our clothing and it's real customers. And one, they love it themselves because they feel like there's on this big website and they're so excited about it. And two, it creates kind of this proof of we have real customers and here they are.
Definitely. Authenticity, a recurring theme, I think, throughout all these 3 days, basically. Excellent. Let's see, who's next? Who's next? Here's one for Diana. A pretty specific one, but while we're on ads, why not? What do you think? Is automated Facebook ad placement worth doing it if you're not on Instagram?
Definitely, because the system will recognize where your audience is. You might not be there, but your audience is there. So this is where they're gonna see it. And if you see that your traffic comes from Instagram, this might inspire you to maybe focus on Instagram as well. Further on when you have time and the resource for it. But definitely, automatic placements will do the job for you.
It's like you said, let the algorithm do its job. Let Facebook
Yes.
do its job, I guess. Pro tip, right?
Yeah.
The next one's for Ilze. Ilze, how to approach the holiday season as a newbie store with not so many designs?
Approach it ahead of time is my main suggestion. Starting yesterday would be perfect, but starting now will be okay, I'm sure. Even if you don't have a lot of products, actually a lot of products sometimes can lead to what's called analysis paralysis. So if you have like 3 products, you can put them all in sort of like highlighted focus. So it's not a bad thing that you don't have a lot of products. It's just a choice you make. So just as I said, follow the 5 steps. Start with thinking about your niche, then go on to thinking which channels you're going to use, and just take it one day at a time and slowly start prepping everything. There's still lots of time to do it. I think it's still 2 months, so you have time.
And then Jesus and Sergio, how did you feel as newbies when you had few to no designs?
We literally had few to little designs.
we kind of just worked, again, we were doing this part-time, so it was like we weren't focusing so much on that stuff at that point. We're just trying to create cute stuff for ourselves. Honestly, we're just making like samples for ourselves. But I think if you get like at least 10 designs that you love, put them up and then see what happens. And it's like, if it doesn't work out, the great part about Printful is that you can always take it down or leave it up. And if it sells, it sells.
And then it's different because you can have a rainbow on a sweatshirt, but the rainbow sticker and the rainbow mug sell more than that. So it's nice because Printful has all these products that we can test and wow, this one's number 1. Let's keep going with that one. Let's add more designs. Let's create more assets with that product. Yeah. And just knowing what product sells for you is also very important.
Yeah, that's true. That's true too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. On the topic of experimentation, this one's for Diana. Is there any guide or guidelines to help with framing for different social media formats? So basically framing for different social media formats. What are your recommendations?
So yeah, if you go obviously to Facebook Help Center, there's everything written about all the formats and everything. But the good thing is that you can also adapt all the formats in app when you're actually creating the ad. So you don't have to create expensive different formats with the designer. You actually just need one, and then you can crop it the way you like it. The other thing is, of course, when you talk about a big brand where they have the brand book and guidelines, there you should be, of course, more careful. But usually the big guys usually have all the formats ready already. So. But yeah, there are a lot of options to do everything inside the app, not even, turning to the designers. So.
Okay, thanks. Next one's for Ilze. Are you ready?
Oh, of course.
Cool. How do you feel about giveaways?
Positively. No, I think giveaways can be really great. Sometimes I know that people, when experiment, the giveaways don't always work from day one. So it might be worth considering partnering with someone that makes sense for your niche. perhaps not an influencer, it might be a partner, it might be a micro influencer, but do a giveaway together with them, because that way you'll reach an audience that's not yet engaged with your customers, and you might see better results from the giveaways. But it's also worth just occasionally doing a giveaway with your own customers, even if you don't see an immediate ROI on that. It's just, building a relationship and then thanking your customers in a way as well.
Okay, thanks. Here's a marketing specific question for Jesus and Sergio. How did you roll out your marketing campaign leading up to Pride Month? Could you tell us a bit about that?
So we are very Instagram heavy. I think because we have the audience there. So most of our marketing campaigns are like launched first on Instagram with like some kind of, it doesn't say like here's our marketing campaign obviously, but it says like, some kind of different messaging. And like the Pride one was like, at 9 a.m. that morning, it was like a powerful caption, powerful graphic. And then the rest of the channels trickle down from there. So we usually coordinate an email newsletter at the same time, and then the ad, like the paid media goes afterwards.
And then it's all cohesive with the website, the banners, the email, the Instagram.
And then one quick tip for if you're on Shopify, make a copy of your theme and do any creative edits in the copy of the theme. And when you're ready to launch your campaign, publish that theme itself. That's like a quick tip.
Okay, awesome. Let's see. Anything the ladies would like to add on top of that?
That's amazing advice. I think this is nothing bad there.
I think that's a recurring question that's, popular, I think, since the dawn of Facebook. But this one's for Dion, obviously. Regards to running ads, what time of the week is better? Or maybe what time of day? Any tips there?
I'd say the ongoing campaigns are the answer, because the algorithm also will do the job for you, obviously. But as to I think the days and times matter more for the organic posting. This is something to but also it varies from vertical to vertical, from industry to industry, and from brand to brand. So you should again, test and learn what works for you exactly. So as to advertising, I think it's not worth it to set the schedule or something, because this will also affect the learning phase. And since the learning phase is unstable, the results are unstable in the learning phase. So you want to make sure that you exit the learning phase as fast as possible. So leaving it up to the algorithm again will help you do that. So you don't have to worry about the times and trying to figure out, what time is better for the ad.
Thank you. This one's for Jesus and Sergio. You shared with us your fabulous collaboration with HBO, that partnership. Could you tell us a bit more about that? Like, how did that partnership come to be?
All organic. I just want to say authenticity and organic is the way to go.
This is going to sound really like a lie, but I really we were watching this TV show one day, and we're
both
sobbing, crying our eyes out. And I'm like, I need to find out who's behind this, just so I can say thank you for creating this amazing show. Fast forward to me Instagramming and DMing the executive producers of the show from Gay Pride Apparel's Instagram, and a week later, we're on a call with HBO's executive team and their marketing team, and we're like, okay, again, this is we're still working on this part-time, and we're like, wow, this is really big. What are we doing? And how did this happen from an Instagram DM? But I think I always tell my friends this too, who are starting businesses, do not be afraid to just send a DM. Even if it's an influencer, a big brand, anyone, just send a direct message. It's kind of like sales, find the lead and then just go from there. And that's how that happened, really organically.
Authenticity.
Exactly.
Authenticity, right?
So great to hear that great things happen in Instagram DMs as well.
Oh yeah, nice one. Okay, well, I have time for one last question. Oh boy, how bittersweet. But let's try to wrap this baby up. For all those people going into their very first holiday season, their very first peak, what would you say are the absolute essentials for holiday marketing, what would you encourage these newbies to do? Let's start with Ilze.
I would say stay sane because I think it's, especially this year, it's very easy to get bogged down in everything and it can get quite difficult. So I'm going to repeat myself again, but don't spread yourself too thin. Pick and choose what you have time to do, ask for help, and just be careful with how much effort you put into everything and just do your best, basically.
Sound advice.
Yeah.
And Sergio and Jesus?
Probably the same thing, but just
We find ourselves saying that every single day.
yeah, just don't stress yourself out. Like make sure it's like a business, but you also need to make sure you stay sane.
Focused.
And focus, yeah, and make sure you plan ahead. I mean, you were saying that too. Like just make sure you don't be like us and try to plan like content a week before. Sometimes, plan ahead like a month in advance and then refine from there, but don't start a week before.
What do you guys do to decrease those stress levels?
Glasses of wine.
Go for drinks, yeah.
Just literally.
Always works. Thank you. Diana, what would you say?
So yeah, I would say plan early and go wider maybe. But it depends on your budget. But reach and frequency buying is something that helps you plan ahead. And automation again. I sound like a broken record already, but this is actually something that would help to put the stress levels down.
Thank you. No, you're not a broken record. You're a nice record. All of you are. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for answering those questions so nicely and giving all those in-depth examples. Really, really thank you. Really, really big thanks. You can just smile and wave to the camera.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining this last Q&A. This last Q&A of Printful Threads, Volume 2, Day 3. Yes. Well, this is a bit strange. I have nothing to tell you about the days to come. I have no agenda, no script. I'm a bit speechless right now, but, well, nothing else to say except thank you. Dear viewers, thank you for taking the time to be with us. We hope that what you saw was maybe useful, helpful, enjoyable, entertaining, any of those words in any combination. Whatever it was for you, we hope that you enjoyed it, because we sure did. It was a very interesting, very fun ride. And dear Printful Threads speakers, it was a pleasure, an honor to have you here. Big, big thank you for just taking the time to share your stories with everyone. And again, all those beautiful examples, those real life stories, well, they're just basically as inspirational as it gets. So I think I'm the broken record now. I can't stop saying thank you enough. So yeah, well, goodbyes aren't the best, right? So let's just keep it short and sweet. So thanks everyone, and see you next time.